we'll finally have a new Akali player, you would imagine. No Akali games in the mid lane. Kingen has played one game, so chance that he's going to be on it again, but I know I'm greedy, and I'd love to see BDD on Akali duty.
Ezreal went through the draft yet again, and remember it was the first pick on the side of Gen.G first time around, so they'll get it paired with an Urgot this time.
Now, on the blue side, you'll need to take Vladimir first round. So do they actually take Vladimir if they want to return to that?
Yes.
It has to be now, and they're happy for it, so Kai'Sa was the indication of that. Peanut had not the best game on Nocturne, yet he will be having the Nocturne taken away from him. And some fans might be relieved to see him potentially move back to something like the Lee Sin, but they don't take Lee Sin first round, a potential ban for KT.
Well, I mean, this is looking like the quintessential composition that SKT made look completely undefeatable, with the Tahm Kench Ezreal on the bottom side of the map, and then Urgot, Lissandra, Lee Sin as that top side. Lissandra going to be locked in as far as those puzzle pieces for KT now, with some bans to try and deny what options Gen.G have.
Less solo agency, I think, on the picks, though. Akali doesn't get solo kills pre-6, and without Ignite in the mid lane, harder to pull off. Vladimir is going to be scaling Nocturne slow. So there is the potential that KT, who's really had a firesome start in game number 1, will find themselves stalled because of champion picks, and also something like a mid lane Lissandra might be less at the whims of an early death, which has been BDD's calling card recently. I think he should take Ignite on every champion because
yeah,
his flash Ignites are coming off in pretty impressive fashion. Jace and Sion banned from KT.
Expecting that will be a mid lane Akali, most likely, judging by what these bans are, but maybe just wanting to deny some strong champions into the Urgot, give Roach the best time possible. Tahm Kench already banned here, 10 seconds to go. Do they just ban the Lee Sin? They could theoretically take it away from Peanut, as it has been his comfort champion to jump back on, if not the Elise. But it's not going to be. It's going to be Life's Alistair taken off the board.
Gragas available. Could
Yeah.
be taken in the same spot that KT took it in game number 1.
And flexed in exactly the same way as well. So I do like the Gragas pick.
I feel like there's no loss to the pick because you're going to get full information later. It's not been a happy hunting ground for Peanuts so far.
Oh, but he's going to do it.
Gonna hold on to last pick here for support, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, you generally talk about the potential of the Lissandra support, but I'm not sure whether Life's going to do it. Yeah, it's got to run its course, that one.
It's like when you don't tell a joke, you talk about the name of a joke, and then try to get the world's lightest smirk. Like, at the end of the day, that part is over.
We're doing it again.
Yeah, and they're doing it old school. This is 2018 Summer Week 1.
Yeah.
Shen Nocturne every game. Nocturne pulls the trigger every time because Shen's given him the Stand United to follow him up, and this would actually be Akali top lane. Kingen playing a lot of it in solo queue towards the end of the 2018 season.
And
if
the
they do
BDD
settle on this
special.
Zoe.
But no, okay, 1 second to go. Gangplank going to be locked in. And we've seen this. This was in a Freak of Freaks special, the Vladimir Gangplank. Get a lot of circles down with a lot of damage in an area.
Do you know who KT Rolster hate on the enemy team? It's your boy Ruler. Nocturne ult with Shen coming in as well. GP ult as well. And maybe even Kingen teleporting in to also dive bot lane. If you see GP in a lane matchup that's not advantageous, there's not many of those, but say Shen top, for example, GP wins that matchup very hard. In a game like this, it's all about coming down bot lane. Vladimir starts the dive and more damage sent. To keep Ruler accountable, I don't know if Life can get away with Ignite Gragas. Maybe you need heal somewhere, and that will feel really bad, given that Ezreal wants to take the TP. But otherwise, you just try to kill Ezreal as many times as you can.
Well, can they actually get through the laning phase before that is the case, is the question, because we saw Life, I mean, his 100% win rate so far on this Gragas, 2-0. He is very, very good, getting solo kills by himself, basically. He needed a Kai'Sa to Killer Instinct and then press Q with only one possible, one of those bolts hitting.
It's another game where KT go back to the analysis that worked in spring season last year of, yes, Ruler's good, but Ruler and ColdJJ can't punish in the 2v2 a weak laning phase. Vladimir Shen is really weak in the early game. Fell to a 20-30 CS disadvantage, but to Ruler's credit, that was other problems from other lanes coming to bot lane, giving Vlad kills and an early proto belt, and things fell apart. That won't necessarily happen a second time. And also solo kill potential in the mid lane, probably going to ratchet down as well.
Yeah, and a lot more harass potential coming in from the barrels flying out from Life as well. I feel like Ruler and Life will be able to push this advantage a little bit more effectively, other than Life, you know, throwing out the thresh hooks and seeing whether they can start fights that way. Sanguinpool is pretty good at denying that one potentially. Is all right, we've seen the rosters, you've seen what they can do. KT versus Gen.G Game 2 right now. Gen.G faithful, very keen on having a Gen.G victory, or at least making this one a 3-game series. Fly on the Lissandra, wanting to run it back and do a little bit of a better job this time around.
Last thing you want is to lose this match, because Atlas, that means there's separation to joining Jin Air rather than escaping from Jin Air's current predicament at the bottom of the ladder, and that is not a grouping you're looking for. 2 teams have to play in relegations, guys. One of the few regions around the world that still has promotion relegation, played at the end of spring and the end of summer season. So given that, your place on the line, VSG and Challenger could be doing their best Griffin and Damwon impression before too long. A lot of promotions recently, and the 3 promoted teams around the top 5 in the standings of the last 3 teams promoted.
Yep, VSG, of course, formerly GC Busan, and have picked up a bunch of new players as well recently, so looking pretty exciting coming from Challenger as
they run
Gen.G grabbed the first CS.
They run 2 5-man rosters and win those games 2-0, which lets you know there's a lot of good stuff going on there.
Yep,
Gen.G late invade, like you mentioned, at worst klepto procs, but at best you get a lot of information about Umti's pathing on the level 6 special in the Nocturne.
Yep, going to play it as safely as possible, taking down this red buff, but does get a pretty decent leash from Snowflower and Zenit. As our Ruler's trying to start the zoning very, very early. Zenit going to tank that one up, but now Life in position. And yeah, getting a license to head towards this minion wave is going to be pretty rough.
But they bought the license. This was really smart level 1 from Gen.G, because think about how many things you get here. Ezreal comes in, they confirm the Nocturne start, they slow down the jungle leash, they get some klepto procs, and they zone away from level 2 access. You make an active play like this because you have Ezreal Gragas. If you had something like an Ashe, you can just hit level 2 and use Hawkshot to get that Nocturne information. Get it a bit differently. One engineered level 2 is, speaking of level 2s.
Yep, the flash disdain is going to come in as the level 2 immediately lands. Kingin wants to get out, but the level 2 gank's too good, and despite a miscue, Peanut will grab first blood very early.
Level 1, level 2, beautiful stuff from Gen.G. Love the top lane gank. 0% chance of a counter gank because of the level 1 vision, eyes on the Nocturne. Sort of plans that we just haven't seen in the past from the side of Gen.G. We see it here, and all Umti can do is stop there being a wraparound gank if Peanut stayed top.
Yeah, and also that ward over there, that control ward's not going to see that particular one. I believe Kingin may have seen it go into the brush when he tried to get away. So information available, Umti not going to reveal himself. So Gen.G do need to respect the possible locations of the Nocturne. Let's see this one again.
No chance Nocturne is here. Counter gank, no chance for Kingin. He's done, nicely played. Q doesn't hit, but he's getting his eye in on those for the future. On comfort, Peanut finds a kill involvement. King can still push up the wave, and we'll see how the CS looks in a matchup that seems bold, but the oranges might be very helpful against the imminent threat of the ultimate from the Urgot, and it's something we'll track as the laning phase goes on.
Yeah, King goes home and gets himself a Sapphire Crystal, which feels real bad, but just wanted to go back. Regen all of that mana that he lost, shooting Roach underneath that turret. There's Zenit and Snowflower doing okay down here, only behind by about 6 CS. And as far as lanes that are going to lose are concerned, what's an acceptable CS deficit here for Zenit as we enter the mid-game?
Now, the last part is relevant. In the early laning phase, you would say it's probably going to be a huge loss pre-level 6 on GP and Nock, but then GP and Nock kind of bail Shen and Vladimir out a little bit. Feels like they're the government bailouts here.
Yep.
Because the ultimate threat makes those extra aggressive trades a bit more risky. If there wasn't the globals to be called in to help bot lane, I think 25 CS would be fine. It's given the champions and that both of them do much better out of laning phase. But those level 6s aren't hit, and Peanut is transferring his success top into some play bot lane, so you can push up pretty relentlessly if you are the Ezreal and Gragas.
Yeah, not sure how much information is actually over on the KT side. Still not playing as if Peanut is around, but playing very defensively nonetheless. Peanut on the bottom side. Dragon is going to spawn as it ticks up to 5 minutes into this game. And Peanut looking to start it off basically immediately. Life and Ruler are over here, able to offer damage. KT knows about this, as Umti's going to pay a visit to the mid lane. He's looking to beeline over to try and stop this dragon.
Didn't really pick champions that can deal with this too well, but they're going to take the risk anyway.
Umti is going to get flashed on here by Life. The Q does land as Peanut's waiting for the flash. Umti waits even longer though and uses the Dustbringer to get over to this Blast Cone. Good double taunt, as it feels like Snowflower may have just sacrificed himself for the good of his jungler.
Bit of trading places there, and the Vladimir also will have to exit lane as his support is down. Not sure if it's worth, but Umti keeps his life. BDD continues to push in mid lane. KT picked a comp that can't brawl pre-6. They are waiting for better timings, and that's why Gen.G gleefully accept everything they can get.
And I'm not sure whether Snowflower had to die there. It felt like Umti had made it to the other side of the Blast Cone, was able to get out. But Snowflower just wanting to make sure to guarantee that Nocturne was going to be safe. Didn't want to lose him this early on. Peanut going to be able to take down this Mountain Drake. Takes a lot of a beating. But with Life helping out, they will be able to grab it. Secures it pretty humbly. Gen.G with 1,000 gold lead to start this game, 2-0 up.
T walks in, and Life hard commits to this. Is he able to get out because he holds on for the resonating strike there? Let's watch the replay. A body block as Umti goes in. I tend to agree with you. I think Snowflower misread the map and didn't understand that Fly is coming from the top and Ezreal's coming from the back. There's no way out there. Bit of a polite applause and clapping coming through from the side of Gen.G. Probably was avoidable, but the Drake on the back end is the other good moment for the side of Gen.G.
Yeah, there were some perplexed faces in that coaching booth, and understandable, but 2-0 is Peanut. Having a turnaround performance on the Lee Sin, something that we haven't seen for quite a while, but certainly a welcome thing for a lot of our Gen.G fans out there, and Peanut fans in general.
And the best part is, look at the draft, and you say, yeah, Urgot versus GP early, yep, Lissandra versus Akali early, definitely the bot lanes, 3 winning lanes.
Yeah. On
paper, and a jungler that's more proactive pre-6. Gen.G have done a lot of stuff, and that's not something we could have assumed by Gen.G by reputation or their play so far. Roach all in on top.
As King in. He might need to throw down that barrel, but Roach is just going to eat him. Okay, eat some oranges. He is going to be K for the moment, but the Ignite and the last auto are enough to do it. Solo kill for Roach on the top side against the Pirate.
And even with the oranges, he wasn't okay. Peanut out of screen, just watching the play and kind of clapping along as the solo kill comes down on the top side. Nicely played there from Roach. The extra auto required, I think. I couldn't actually see how many ticks of Ignite had come in earlier. Level 6 is hit by BDD and Umti, but kind of bold to try to kill an aftershock Lissandra with Flash.
Yeah, exactly. Also still had the ultimate available as well, so BDD wanting to try and bait something from Fly. But at the moment, level 7 means that BDD can be pretty dangerous as he back to the Shroud.
Watch the replay of this play. Watch Peanut here, who's just like, cool, I'm going to wait on this.
Yep.
Jill's in the back line there, waiting and biding his time, and watch this play happen. Now, oranges do override the CC, so the Fear Beyond Death does not arm in that scenario, but auto-ignite, it's all to Roach's understanding, and he comes back in. We weren't sure if he'd play this series after Cuvée had a good game number 1.
Yeah.
He makes solo kill look easy.
Damn right he did. So, Roach, you can understand why he's been subbed back in, but I don't know why he was subbed out in the first place. Certainly was a good look for this squad, as Umti still has that paranoia, wants to make the first one work. The bottom lane is an understandable place to throw that one down. As BDD gets Frozen Tomb, does manage to backflip his way out. They trade some abilities here, but Lee Syndrome doesn't come down as now Fly's trying to do what he can. Ruler has been bounced on. Hemoplague will get rid of him, and 2 kills very quickly for KT. As I think I've seen this one as well, as the oranges have been eaten. Corrosive Charge, not enough to get rid of King in this time. Has teleport, thankfully, for the GP.
But you see what the draft does. Attacks bot lane. There is no heal between Ruler and Life, so that's why it's a double kill. In that case, they don't have the GP ult to throw it down. He would have ulted and maybe been distracted and died to Urgot solo again. But Kingin just has to grin and bear it. It's all about getting Zenith and Snowflower going. With assistance, here's the assistance, Snowflower. That's a sick taunt flash onto Ruler, and then the Hemoplague comes in, and there's no heal, so there's no chance for the duo of Gragas and Ezreal.
Yeah, like the KT understood that they weren't going to get killed by the Ezreal, so they let the Hemoplague take him down and guarantee the kill. Onto Life. Umpty being proactive here in this early game. 1-0-1 now on the Nocturne. Level 7. There's Roach. Doesn't have a bounty just yet. That belongs to Peanut.
And this is where we have to talk about things I think sometimes fans find it really tricky to fully appreciate. But GP loses this lane way better than Ezreal or Gragas lose the lane against Vladimir because GP has very strong scaling going into the game, and Ezreal's all about hitting his core items and hitting them early. GP's happy to just kind of be a extra piece and punching bag on the top side, but an extra piece in the bot lane domination. And they're trading double kills. Yes, you're already trading up in terms of gold, but you're getting Vladimir through a hard laning phase into the ascendancy of that mid to late earlier than needed. And GP can hang back, pop his oranges, lose by 20 CS, and probably be just fine.
Well, the thing that's ridiculous is you were talking about that 25 CS margin, and yes, you're right, the global was utilized in order to get a lead down here, but that's a turret plate going over to KT in a lane where they have absolutely no right to get one. And right now, KT, despite being down a kill, are going to be ahead as far as the gold reads. Mountain Drake, not entirely sure whether that's going to be relevant here for Gen.G, but if they can get 2, it certainly will be. And their composition that does have an AD carry. Last game, if you remember, it was KT that was able to get the monopoly on the Dragons. A lot of early game power. Now, bottom side is where they have the advantage, and they're trying to press it forward as W3D moving
Ults
down. Umpty also moving down.
This is the ults are up, let's dive bot lane timing. Now, Gen.G ahead of this, they're already on the top objective. So how many objectives can KT get here? You'll take a Mountain Drake for Rift Herald trade if you're Gen.G.
Yep. And they're going to take it earlier as well, as now Kingen has to be real scared. Only Ninja Tabi to try and save himself from this situation, as Peanut lying in wait, and Shelly is going to be unleashed. Onto Kingen. That's a lot of turret plates. They're going to come in for Roach.
And they're so happy to see the Mountain Drake coming down so late, like you mentioned. Turret plates, and also maybe just first turret blood, as GP can do nothing, and he wants to ult bot lane to get a double kill again.
Yep. Gonna have that cannon barrage available, puts it down immediately. Paranoia comes in immediately. Stopwatch comes out though, as the flash was maybe a little bit of a bridge too far, but Umpty is going to die. Okay, ultimate comes in, stands united, also double duty as Snowflower gets himself to relative safety, but now the taunt is going to miss. Roach pays a visit. Ruler eventually goes down, but it's a bit of a fiesta down here on the bottom side of the map, and a double kill goes over to Fly. W3D uses the last charge of the perfect execution to get himself over the wall, and as the dust settles, Gen.G now have the lead.
And they'd read the spoilers, so they get way more turret plates and way more gold over the cross of the map, even if Ruler and Life eventually go down. The turret there is going to stay pretty healthy, still 3 plates up, and this play was so obvious. Very transparent from the drop, and also just the Drake being taken. Ruler buys a lot of time at the start, and again, he walks up again because it's about buying time. It's about, let's get so many plates on the top side, so much of a push to make this happen while Fly comes in and the double TP. Fly comes in, they get the Nocturne, they get Snowflower, and even the duo of Gen.G going down for a second time this game is still overall worth from a Gen.G perspective.
Yeah, and they invested a hell of a lot in that play as well. There were 3 control wards around the bottom side of the map, and you mentioned the fact that it was basically a given that it was going to happen. Gen.G do read it like a book, but 500 gold is not really much of a lead, moving into a late game that has the Gangplank moving around, the Vladimir moving around. Gen.G do have the Ruler factor though, and always has to be taken into account. We've all seen how he can kite around a late game team fight, especially on the Ezreal. He almost managed to do it in the last game, but wasn't quite able to. Tipped at the post. This could be a more difficult test with some of the champions KT have put together. But this is not an early game that is as bad for Gen.G.
But this is also not a late game yet. And at this time, at the 1 item point, I feel like Gen.G is stronger. Taking away Umpty.
Yeah, is going to use the stopwatch to deny that damage as flashes over the wall. Now he's going to get engaged on as okay. He's getting a whole host of trouble. The Fear Beyond Death comes in, instant cleanse from W3D as he trades the junglers. Roach now just kiting back. Zenit in here as well. Invests the teleport and go 1 for 1. That is bad news because bottom side of the map now, 14 minutes have passed, but that turret is going to take a lot of damage.
Yeah, Crucially going to give Ruler a lot of gold if he can actually get the turret down in bot side. W3D's ult was wasted in that fight as well. So not the best use there. Haven't got all their ducks in a row like they could in game number 1. Have KT Rolster. Ruler so happy did not have to deal with Vladimir for a while. Vladimir and Shen re-enter lane. They're not going to take the turret just now, but any breathing room for the bot lane that's been targeted again and again by KT's comp is welcome from the side of Ruler.
Yep. Zenit does clean up a lot of these minions though, so that turret damage is not going to be as much of a big deal. As we have a look at this one again, a lot of buttons and a lot of summoner spells down in this skirmish.
It's a lot used to begin it, and then Umti just dives in, wanting to get a double kill. However, importantly, the Fear Beyond Death arms, and that's so frustrating for BDD, because he has to use Cleanse before Lissandra even hits the fight, and then has to get out. So
yeah.
Isn't able to try to combat through something like the Frozen Tomb.
Well, Gunblade is now completed here for BDD. Has a Blasting Wand to augment it and some Merc Treads to keep himself out of that CC. Cannon Barrage is here to try and deter Gen.G from clearing out this minion wave, and he clears the remainder. So saving the outer turret in mid is KT Rolster, but now don't have one of those tools that they've been talking about. The Gangplank becomes a little bit more easy to take down.
By the end of summer, these GP drafts weren't working because one of those things goes away and things fall apart. Speaking of falling apart.
Yep, Stand United is going to be there, but he just dies way too quickly. Umti fighting off more than he can chew yet again. Exhaust immediately down onto Kingen, who eats some oranges, and BDD dives forward, has the Shroud down, but it's a 2 versus 3. And I don't know why KT are even trying to go for it. BDD creating some distance. It's a cute play, but it's definitely not a good one.
Coordination from behind, falling apart a little bit. Again, look at the nameplates here. Kingen and Umti making their LCK debuts. In many ways, King played a couple of games, but largely it's going to be a different configuration as a 5 for KT Rolster. And from behind, those dominoes one by one falling. Snowflower's just happy that the ultimate didn't continue, otherwise it would have been his death as well when the Shen arrives late. BD trying to spare blushes, but we watch the replay here. Nice assertive move. Umti walks up, and I think this has been the one thing that he's been guilty of the most on his career is from behind, he can be on the wrong side of the map, or on the weak side of the map, and be taken down. No business being there alone. He's taken down. Kingen also. Problem spreads to him, and BDD may not die, but he has to use his ult to make his escape.
Yeah, thankfully for Kingen, he holds on to his flash. Umti also has his, so not going to be wasting summoner spells necessarily, but wasting their lives is definitely a worse thing.
Point I wanted to get to earlier is that one item Power Spike to me is only better on BDD than his lane opponent. Everyone else is stronger earlier in the game, and those items are coming in soon. Triforce will be done. 2 item Urgot is not going to die and takes no threat in the side lane from the GP. And GP and Vlad are both thinking about lustfully 4 items, and that may never happen. Gen.G should rule the roost on basically everything they want to fight for. Only question is, what do they want to fight for? Because Ocean Drake, not going to be the highest priority thing to fight over at 18 minutes. Baron hasn't spawned yet. Gen.G starting every objective off spawn, and so far I've liked their objective play in game number 2.
Yeah, and Umti knows that this is the Ocean Drake going down, but there's just absolutely nothing he can do about it. Ocean Drake more of a cycling Drake, but the next one also going to be an Ocean. Powering up the Elder possibilities here are Gen.G. As BDD just jumps back into his Shroud after clearing out the minion wave, something that Akalis are going to do.
Cleanse still up on the Akali.
Yeah, comfortable.
Does his thing. Laning phase extending in bot lane amusingly actually suits Zenit and Snowflower because they can just try to recreate what we usually talk about as a 7 to 12 minute play of the Nocturne GP and friends diving bot lane. Because there's still a turret bot lane, Ruler is more likely to actually be in proximity of Vladimir and Shen. And to me, that's the only thing that KT can do proactively, where things can't just be turned around by an Urgot or Lissandra reliably, as during that Nocturne ultimate, cannot actually complete the TP.
That's true. Well, BDD is going to switch. He's heading down towards the bottom side of the map. The 1-3-1 is enacted, but not necessarily having priority in these lanes against their opponents means that KT does have to be very careful. Fly's scoreline looks good, but the farm is not quite there in comparison to BDD. And like you say, BDD's first item spike, very strong with the Gunblade in hand.
Zenit is going for the New Age Noggery build, which is Kindle Gem, Fiendish Codex, finish the Proto Belt, then spill to Death Cap and Sorcerer's Shoes. Go full damage because you're already at 45% CDR.
Yeah.
You're about 41% at level 12, and then you're just waiting for the scaling CDR on your rune.
Yep. Feels
Base
pretty good.
stats.
Only have to invest into 10% yourself as BDD walks on forward.
Oh.
And we've got another pause. Wonder how, whether it was BDD or whether it was somebody else. Interesting.
No insight into this one yet, guys. We don't even have the camera zoom out to know who the offending party is on setting up this pause.
Yep. But we are going to at least have some pretty cool zooms of Akali wandering forwards as same issue comes in. So, unfortunately, Umti might need to invest in a new mouse.
Okay, so it seems like it's a reproducible issue with the mice here from Umti. Unfortunate.
Yep.
One of the quirks of professional gaming, the equipment issues.
And I didn't recognize his mouse either, so a lot of different brands over here in Korea, but this one I don't know too much about.
So if you want to map a mouse issue to an equivalent thing happening in, say, a football match, would it be your cleats?
Yeah, would that be a shoe issue? Maybe it's a shoe issue.
You know, like your cleats, you're starting to slip, you know, one of the cleats comes out, you don't have that same sticking power on the grass. I get that.
Yep. It's less easy to pause the game, as I guess you just blow a whistle if you're the referee. You don't have much agency as the player yourself.
Sometimes as a caster, I wish I could blow a whistle, but no, this is out of order. Please stop. I would have been blowing the whistle pretty hard when I saw the AP Jarvan support.
Yes, yes. We, in fact, I think were.
And then the Baron steal with the new Ezreal ultimate.
Yep. My problem is that the Jarvan support happened twice. That was when I would have blown the whistle. I mean, I'm giving Spirit 1 each time, but unfortunately he won. And then, like, you can't tell him that it wasn't anything to do with him picking the Jarvan support, and it was everything to do with everything else. And you can't really do it when he just says, no, I won, and I did okay in lane.
It's 2-0, just like Teemo. Both of them very viable in the LCK.
Well, at least Teemo, we haven't seen him again. I haven't seen him so far in 2019. He's going to zoom in on Roach. 3-0-3 on the Urgot, showing that Gen.G can have an early game to be proud of.
Roach has done his job. At the end of the day, if someone picks GP into your Urgot, should be pretty good news for you, and the level 2 gang kind of condemned GP away from just farming.
But still, a lot of different options here. Lee Sin fan there, Peanut fan, as per usual. Feels like we can scan over almost anyone, and they're holding up a I really like Peanut sign.
Peanut himself had an interview talking about how he's becoming aware that people are, you know, whispering louder and louder about his issues in performance so far in the 2019 season. Sort of thing where I'm sure he's got two eyes on scrims and gameplay, and he knows things are struggling, but of course there's that groundswell of both appreciation when you do well and a negativity when things go away from you.
There's a lot of people that feel positive towards him, but also a lot of people that are pretty harsh on the old Peanut.
I mean, he entered 2019, definitely second most popular player in the LCK. Faker, of course, his fame is international, but Peanut's is as well. There is one of our fans from Chile.
Wow.
Welcome to Korea. Hope you're enjoying Lowell Park there.
On behalf of Korea, you're welcome.
Weird for us to be representatives of Korea without poor Korean.
I mean, we're the only ones here that actually have a voice, though. I'm sure that the Korean broadcast also did hopefully the same thing.
International flavor about a lot of these teams. KT, of course. A lot of international fans. Gen.G, formerly Samsung Galaxy. Maybe some of these fans were live in Beijing and saw them win there, and that, of course, helped their Chinese fan contingent quite a lot.
Yep.
Thumbs up meme.
Is that supposed to be a KT?
I think it's... Yes, it is. It's kind of a thumbs up. I thought that was a Linderung thing.
Yeah, I know. That's if my hands looked like that, if you could just drive me to the hospital, that'd be really cool. Because that thumb looked like it was definitely round the wrong way.
I'm always distracted by your hair, Atlas. I never get to your thumbs.
Thank you very much. I don't get distracted by your hair, but I only make it to your beard. So I also... I'm not distracted by your thumbs either.
I was having some issues growing it up top, so just let it flow down here.
Yeah, dude. You're just doing the upside down head maneuver. Perfect.
Now I don't want to see that Photoshop.
We just need to draw a mouth on your forehead.
No. Happy birthday, Roach.
Wow, okay. So it didn't even get to start on his birthday. At least he gets first blood in game.
He got a birthday present. It's a level 2 gank and an Urgot versus GP matchup.
Could you ask for anything more? As a pro player?
Gen.G fans happy to pick up the cheerful so they can skillfully avoid.
Yeah, see, this is the pro play when it comes to avoiding the eye contact with the camera. Not sure what the
Is that I think that's some cushioning on the chair there. Cool.
Yeah, is that a Roach-specific maneuver? As we got the countdown.
I'm not going to count it down this time.
At this point, we've got B2D looking for Fly as he gets out with the Claw, and the Paranoia is going to follow up. Not a lot of options here for Fly as the teleports are coming in. Oh, that's a really good Zhonya's to come forward as Fly eventually falls, but do Gen.G have enough to offer back? It's another stopwatch as that goes wide from life. Doesn't get the cask in, and Roach is going to fall as well. A kill going to Kingen is precisely what he wanted, and KT are back in the game.
And BDD play that oh so well. He really min-maxed every bit of damage from the Akali. They get the 2 kills. They stop Ruler from answering with a turret in the mid lane. That's just a straight trade up from KT.
Yeah. BDD, my goodness. When he started it off, I was like, Lysandra is going to be a difficult target, but follows the Claw, finishes the fight. And KT now just playing underneath this turret. Akali not going to be able to do that for that much longer, so BDD just making the most of it.
We don't have a match week next week, so we don't know how many more weeks of 9.2 action we'll have.
Yeah.
So enjoy or grimace at that to your heart's content. BDD backs away. He'll keep pushing waves, and somehow, when I don't count down for that countdown, we have way more action.
Exactly.
Here we are.
Right. Thank
Snapping
you very
back
much.
to live. Holds on to everything, of course, ready for the glacial path. Just so good here about getting his damage out. No wasted moments on the Akali. Cleans up the Lysandra, turns on to Roach as well. Not often do you get all your ease in for damage. BDD able to do that. They clean up. And like you say, welcome for Kingen, who, after the laning phase, could have been out of this game for quite a while. And actually, unbeknownst to us, he's actually just been distracting and picked up a pretty big CS lead.
Yeah, we're having a look at this. Like, you can see that's the view out looking at some islands on the shore. But is that the mainland on the end there? Is KT wanting to hold on to this gold lead now?
Atlas, both KT and Gen.G just want to rejoin the mainland. They're marooned with Jinair, and it's not the island you want to be on right now.
Well, I think that reference is actually perfect, because what does the gold graph look like if you can't get any consistency? There ain't no mainland. Ruler wishes he was back there.
Wish he had that kind of minion as well.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't going to mention it.
What a Trinity Force Ezreal this week against the Vladimir Akali. You tend to understand it.
Yep.
Extra health, probably more useful than the armor against Nocturne GP, but that's a lot of damage, so you're kind of screwed either way.
When asked about it, a lot of our Korean players just like the extra damage
Kingen's
that you have available. Kingen's just going to see his death at the moment. Wants to find a Cannon Barrage, does put it down. His life is a support, remember, but does get the body slam in there. Steric's Gauge was completed. He's surviving for so damn long, but not long enough. The Snowflower was delivered, even though the Fear Beyond Death had started.
What does 4 people diving 1 person without a minion wave do right now? When it comes to tempo, KT continue to push up. It's just a kill to the side of Gen.G, no more.
Yeah, we've got Life heading back home. Should make it towards helping Ruler here in the mid lane, but is it going to be before or after? This turret goes down, Snowflower eventually rejoins. Roach not going to get here early enough. And Zenit just going to take that tower down. So tower in trade for the Pirate on the top lane isn't too bad. 30 CS still is going to be the lead here for the GP, who's just going to keep stacking on that money.
Problem I see though, Atlas, they lose mid lane turret. It was already low. They actually lose some damage on inner turret bot, and they lose positioning on the Drake that's about to spawn. That's a lot of map position lost for what ends up being a really extended kill on a no-flash GP. They have to actually invest Peanut's kick as well, because the Shen ultimate coming through does extend the fight. They back off Snowflower, they can't chase for him, and there's a confirmation that KT do pick up the Ocean Drake, not the highest priority Drake, but something to relieve some pressure from the Elder Dragon spawn.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to even out the Drakes. Gen.G, of course, picking up 1 of each as well. I can see what the next one is going to be. Mountain once again. So a little bit more high priority for both of these squads wanting to augment their first with a second. This tower going to be still taking down. That pesky caster creep lasting for a little bit longer than they should, but explosive cast now on cooldown. Zenit trading it for a Sanguine Pull feels good as the Vladimir.
Pretty strong frontliners here with Urgot and Lee Sin, so they're going to poke around Baron. This is all about the visual effects here. They're trying to bait. Face check from KT. They actually get no interest from KT Rolster. They don't have...
KT like, it's Gen.G, as if they've started the Baron before 50 minutes.
KT have the ability to check with Cannon Barrage. Should soon be off cooldown. 1 blue trinket on the Vladimir, who's currently parked in the mid lane.
Yep, wandering on over. They do wander over that ward. Snowflower unfortunately activates a little bit too late.
Kali already with an 850 gold bounty because 301 and the farm advantage over his lane opponent.
Also 8 flies bounty as well. That 1 in that column happened after the 3 and the 2. Means that I believe an extra 600 or 700 gold went over to B2D when he took him down. So Morellonomicon and Seeker's arm guard now completed. When he went into that fight, it was just a blasting one. So this Akali does need to be respected, but Fly's found himself a free lane and will be able to take down this turret without any issue at all.
Happy to just take the local gold and hightail it out of there, because long lanes aren't too kind against GP with 2.5 items, or the Akali as the matchup goes on. There is actually kill pressure when Lissandra can't just glide down a short lane with her E. And the stun can also just interrupt the glacial path if it's timed correctly on the first part of the Akali dash.
Well, Akali, I mean, it just has way more ability to chase her down as well, you could imagine. So gets the extra movement speed from the Shroud, can just backflip after her, can use the ult, like you say, both times in order to chase the Liss.
And if you do 1-3-1, level 2 Shen ultimate is enacted, and we will see Shen potentially on the offensive provide more than it did on the defensive for the GP previously.
Yeah, if you want to think about a Shen composition, it's more like a 2-3-2. If you're going to go for any fights in the side lanes.
But Atlas, that adds up to 7.
That's what I mean.
I know.
Shen's everywhere.
Such as support Shen, and why, after seeing the reintroduction from Joker, people are bringing it back, because if you can get away with it, definitely feel like you've picked a winner, and he's actually got a level lead on life.
If that equals 7 pups, does that mean that Ruler is 1v11?
I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
I think it would be... Wait, I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, BDD going to get tagged. But not going to be taking that particular cue is Peanut. Going to be trading some harassment here as we're vying for vision around the Baron. Gen.G certainly having priority there. Is okay, Zenit flashes forward, looks for the Hemo, lands it onto Ruler, but he's not going to die from that. Damn, it was very close.
Yep.
Level 16 had a hit. Zenit would have just taken him down, and now they know that Ruler has to go back, but teleport is available.
And Zenit has no flash, no ult. So actually the Baron turn that usually would happen when the enemy AD carry is chunked out is going to be possible. It's going to be a bit of Baron vision clearing.
Are at least able to get themselves into the pit and do take that one down. Taunt going to be used to get Snowflower over the wall, and a blue buff going to be taken here for Umpty. That Sonic Wave was very close. Would have done the 85 damage, but thankfully Umpty had the auto attack available. And now Zenit, with no flash, might be the target here for Gen.G.
Blue buff not really craved by anyone. Snowflower.
Yep, he's going to get exhausted as he dives all the way forward. No Hemo Plague available, remember. There's KT looking for this fight. Cannon Barrage doing so much work. It's incredibly high value. BDD finds his way forward. Terrify onto Roach, but the Perch is there, with the shield. Now Life trying to kite BDD back. He will be going down as the afterthought kill comes in with the Mystic Shot, but Kingen dies as well. And now we got low health bars. 1 Mystic Shot each will be the deaths of all of KT, and Ruler says, nope, that's not what we want. Let's get a Baron.
Well played, Gen.G. That's the cost of doing business. If you flash so aggressively as the Vladimir, you can't have the same impact in a team fight. Zoned away was BDD, chasing so long to kill an Urgot. Urgot can TP back, and they want Baron. I think they're going to get it.
Yep, that's true. Fly moving on over as well to augment the damage, but there's a ward in that top side, so theoretically some sort of flank could have come in, but Zenit not going to opt in for it. Teleport does eventually come down, but it is way too late. Zenit by himself into 4 people, sheepishly walks away.
Bit of the walk of shame, like you say, at the end there from Zenit. TP down. Watch the replay. Zenit's so far up the lane when they don't have any vision. Exhaust actually relevant because it means he can't get to the turret as safely. Really nice mechanics from Peanut on the kick. And then as you dive in, consider the team fight from here. You think BDD can clean this up. He actually takes a long time to go Urgot, and in the front line, fly up. The taunt goes down, self-ults, and Snowflower, Kingen, and Umpty milling around while Ruler, for the first time the entire series, feels like he has a front line to fight front to back in. Got the exit kill on the GP as well. Things coming up, Gen.G, things coming up. 3-game series.
Damn right they are. This game's still extraordinarily even, but a Mountain Drake is going to come in for Gen.G as they pick up a Baron, and these towers are going to fall like they're made of cards. The GP, you can see why the investment in the late game is certainly there, but wasn't able to win out the fight. You saw the low health bars on both teams, but the parlay on the barrel was just a second too early. Kingen didn't get the explosion or the slows or his life.
Gen.G should not be perturbed by GP Swiftbush, and they have a very strong team when it comes to Siege. They can threaten dive, and they have the Baron. KT have almost no answers to Siege other than all in.
No.
And you do not want to be all-inning, as we don't want there to be a pause. Neither does the Observer. He's having fun.
We want Umpty to be able to use his mouse, Papa Smithy. That's what we want. As you can see him, he's on your screen. I think everyone knows who the culprit is, as Umpty finally is just going to change the mouse, which I thought might be a good strategy to begin with. But we know that a lot of players very, very attached to their peripherals. I am certainly one of them. I don't change very readily.
I don't know how many of our viewers at home have this to actually discuss, but of course, given the PC bung culture, there is a lot of not just using your home configuration, and I know how much it sucks to move away from my sturdy mouse of choice. I'm a Death Adder man, and I just, whenever I go to a PC bung, I try to find the Death Adder PC, and not always there.
I've never really seen one, as I used to also be a Death Adder man for a very long time.
From what I understand, players should have backup peripherals of their own, but given the fact that it hadn't swapped out earlier, I'm not sure what the reality is here.
I could see it back when we were with OGN. I remember the buckets of the players' peripherals that they used to bring with them. So generally they do have a backup, but we do have a lot of stringent things as to which peripherals you're actually allowed to use, because you're not just allowed to plug and play a random mouse that you get just because it may be tampered with, right? So you have to be very, very careful on what peripherals you're going to have available to you.
Which is the part which I don't understand is, obviously we had this issue twice. You would have thought it would have been swapped out the first time. So, again, no read on that one, guys. Hopefully, if it is a big enough issue, Riot Korea could release a statement on it.
It might have been that we didn't have exactly the same brand of mouse or something for Umpty to utilize, and Umpty wanted to make sure that he had the right weight and all that sort of stuff on his mouse, and I could understand that, I guess. If you want to be particular about it, you know, there is the old saying of a poor craftsman blames his tools, but we've all been guilty of it. Get a new mouse.
Peanut, just buying some time. We're all buying some time. Hopefully this should be a short issue. We hear good news on this being a pretty fast turnaround to return to game number 2. A game where Gen.G fans are feeling very excited about a potential fight back.
KT, of course, made things happen in the early game, but not as much this time around, and Gen.G actually were able to fight back, as this game will be resumed. Umpty, you know, was looking for that paranoia. Thank you, Observer, just to give my mind a bit of a refresher. It wasn't that long on the pause. As the inner turret does go down, KT don't go for anything.
There should be a very high value Baron, because KT only have all in. To dissuade this GP ult to maybe zone away from one minion wave. Here we go.
But they do have Fly on the top side of the map, so he has to teleport to get his way down here. Sonic Wave is going to miss. Zenit, Tides of Blood, just to try and clear out these minions. Umpty from this side, we've started it here as Snowflower goes in. B2D diving on forward, the Emo Plague is going to get rid of Peanut, but can they get more? Yes, they can! As B2D, the lord of the backline, and the follow-up from Umpty is huge. Fly is eradicated, and that's the ace for KT. Rolster, you said they're all in. Well, they bloody well all in.
Whoa, they actually did it out of nowhere. It didn't seem possible. Fly went to answer a minion wave, and in the meantime, they kill them all, and now they're going to try and just push up, get at least an inhibitor, and just chase on the win.
Yeah, potentially just win the game here, and that's also just put such a massive influx of gold into this KT Rolster squad. They will augment it with some of these turret takes, and they'll break the base first against the team that theoretically would have had a minute left on the Baron.
All right, how far we're going, KT Rolster? Is it just game over right now? It seems so unlikely, life already on the Rift. Try to interrupt, and Respawn's coming in. You can take a breath. Let's get that replay, because I think Gen.G had a really good scenario there, and they found a way to mess it up.
They really botched it, Puppy. You're exactly right. We are going to see it relatively soon, as Peanut now has the GA. Would have liked that a little bit earlier, as you can see.
So Peanut's trying to poke with Q. Weird as that sounds, just dies instantly. So it's a 4v3 to open this one, because Peanut's health bar was wasted. Let's watch the dive in the backline. Nocturne comes in and just basically instant death. On the Ezreal, might have been a barrel there that I missed, and they chase on further kills. This was a lot easier. The Lee Sin's supposed to be peeling away one of the people running at the good old Ruler Siege, and now the Siege doesn't matter, and all our analysis sounds real silly.
Well, I mean, that's what a teamfight looks like when Zenit has Hemo Plague available, as opposed to when he doesn't have it available.
It wasn't a team fight. The damn Lissandra was top lane, and then Lee Sin gave open his life. It was a lynch party on 3 people.
Right, yeah, okay, I guess that is theoretically the case, as Fly did try and get amongst it, but...
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
Enemy team, the GP's pushing up, you know, huffing and puffing on an inner turret that you don't really care about when your team has Siege, Dive, and you can't TP during Nocturne Ultimate. So why did Fly go top lane?
You're the analyst, Papa Smithy. I'm sorry, but you're the one that is faced with the terrible task of figuring out the mindset involved in wanting to go into poke with a Sonic Wave in order to try and get an engagement happening when there are perfect counters to the answers of your engage. It's a tough one. It is definitely a mind bender. We've got a minute 30 until the Baron is on the Rift yet again. KT once again at a position where they want to get a Baron in order to be able to make a siege, and they've broken open the base in the mid lane already. Just want to get it to try and augment the chances that they have, and what looked like a 3-game series eventuality is starting to drift further and further towards a 4-game day.
You say starting to drift. I feel like perhaps you could be a bit more on point, sharp with your analogies there.
No,
that's
your job, mate. That's your job, mate. Yeah.
This is straight off a cliff by Gen.G.
We saw the gold graph, and I feel like the cliff is definitely going to be there, Papa.
They bought, like, mountainside prime real estate and then, I don't know, dropped their keys off the mountain? That seems to be what happened in this game, because it seems like BDD has the keys to some harassment on the sidelines.
They thought it was a key to a boat, Papa Smithy. That's the thing. So they get into the water, and then unfortunately, it's the Maserati on the other side.
Well, rich man's talk for, unfortunately, an 8th versus 9th game. I think the brand names need to be adjusted down a little bit.
All right, all right.
And I gotta say, some on-brand items from the Vladimir. He's got no imitation stuff going on here. Void stuff is done.
And the Zhonya's is a recent completion. And if you had a look at how the last team fight went, you can imagine that he certainly wanted to have some of that stasis. Because Vladimir is going to be more and more difficult to deal with. 3,000 health, as well as just building straight damage, is just so scary. As Kingen running on forward, Roach is slowed down, and I don't know what he can actually do here. The flash taunt comes down as Fly comes in with a lot of CC, but Paranoia is going to stop any extra engage. BDD fighting against Peanut, but on the back end, Zenit trying to go forward, doesn't actually get too much, but the Hemoplague gives his health back as Fly's ran out of buttons that can save him, and BDD's the one that finishes it up against Ruler. Roach and Fly limping away as these solo laners are having a real hard time. And Peanut on the backside, KT have just split them up, and now they're just looking for the win.
With Ruler dead, they're going to try and end the game. 40 seconds on the Ezreal. Peanut would actually be smart to stop the minion wave. This is the right call here, but KT might brute force it anyway.
Yep, BDD going to dive on forward, does have the Shroud down as well, so not going to be collecting the turret aggro. First one going to come in here, as that's the backdoor bonus onto these turrets, meaning that they can't actually take them. Zenit is going to go down. That is a huge deal as Peanut can get back in. The fear beyond death is instilled in the hearts of the KT fans as Gen.G get an ace back.
And they might win.
Wait,
they're going to
no,
try and
King
push.
is still alive.
It's not an ace, but they might try to win this game. What are they going to choose here, Gen.G? Death timers are long, but GP can wave clear. That's the variable to consider. Gen.G say there's only one. 20 seconds on Umpty. How much can they get?
Oh my goodness. Teleport to get Ruler back into the fight. It was the only casualty from that ridiculous team fight fought on such a large amount of fronts.
Kill the barrel.
Yeah, barrel isn't going to be killed though, as the cannon barrage does come in. Backdoor bonus is not going to save it against 5 members of Gen.G. They're going to have to wait for another minion wave to conga line forward so that the Nexus turrets can start being under fire. Gen.G say, we want an inhibitor and we want a Baron. And we'll be happy with that. Umpty's still alive. Now alive. Will he be able to actually get onto this Baron pit?
Let it not be known that Papa endorses the F word. Fiesta is definitely here in this game. Can confirm. Fiesta ending to what has been an entertaining game number 2. Gen.G get the Baron as they deserve. They get the inhibitor, so I think overall they didn't try to bite off more than they could chew. And, well, the answering objectives in Ocean Drake. Let's understand all of this. In the mid lane, it's all about the catch here. And consider Ruler's options, because he really wants to fight, and Roach has a big health bar. But when you have Paranoia, the only good news is that Lee Sin buys a lot of time on the Akali on the top side. And that means Akali doesn't hit the fight, but Ruler can't kite anywhere, unfortunately, and ends up kiting his way to BDD. But that's only a single kill. It's only a single kill to begin this, and Peanut makes the very educated decision of cutting the minion wave. He's actually just tussling with a Shen, I believe, on the bot side, but the ultimate, the Fear Beyond Death, respawns for a second time. Comes off cooldown for the secondary kill here, just off cooldown for Roach. As KT being too bold, they went for the win that wasn't actually on offer.
Nope. And there were just no minions remaining, so they had no business underneath those turrets. And now it's the opposite scenario. Inhibitor respawns in the mid lane. Gen.G going to have the priority with the super creeps heading down towards the base. We have to go back to what we thought about in the earlier stages. Ruler going to have a hard time against everyone jumping on him. That's why he's built a GA this time around. Not going for something like the Blade of the Ruin King.
And you know what? Roach just wants to win a damn game on his birthday.
Exactly.
He's bought a redemption to try to help out his team. He's like, guys, I know the Vladimir ult's ruining us and no one else can afford this. I'll bite the bullet. I'll get the redemption.
I'm not going to lie to you, Papa Smithy. In order for Gen.G to get some redemption, they're going to need a whole lot more than just one. I'm waiting for Life to pick up his. Maybe two's going to be enough, but I don't know whether just having one on your Urgot's going to be enough. Duskblade of Drakthar as well as a Ghostblade done for Umpty. He is actually a torpedo. He goes in, he'll explode when he gets there, but he'll do a bunch of damage.
And maybe the Vladimir Wombo next to a redemption. Who's to say that that Ruler can't carry this one? He's got the GA as well. Here's the fight. Peanut on the top side trying to once again gatekeep BD out of a fight. Second inhibitor will go down. Baron for another minion wave and a half. They're going to bring in that minion wave in mid lane. And do KT try to pull the trigger? Damn, did it pay off in bot side, but this time, hopefully Gen.G stay as a 5.
Yeah, going into a unit of 5, that's going to be the issue here. I don't think Peanut was actually spotted heading up towards the top side of the map as he wants to conga line that minion further forward towards the last remaining inner turret that's on the top side of the map. 2 inhibitors now being laid to waste. Baron buff still alive, still on the Gen.G roster for 46 seconds. 500 gold is only the power play as KT have been able to get a little bit back, and Kingen is big on this Pirate. The barrels need to be respected. Zenit is huge, but can KT actually find a fight that they can win? We have an idea of what it looks like, but we also know that Gen.G have a lot of ways to pull the trigger themselves.
And it won't be like the previous one where it was effectively a 5v3 as TP couldn't come in and Lee Sin was caught poking with Q. That won't happen again. We're staying on the same screen for the likes of Gen.G. Right now, Lee Sin is split away, but of course a lot closer than the previous situation. They're trying to bring the minion wave from mid to try to help with this.
Wow, Snowflower diving on forward fly is going to instantly explode, but no, able to get the ult off just in time. Backline Ruler fighting against everyone as BDD. Can he actually do it? I think the answer might be no, as the Zhonya's has to be utilized. KT have picked up one fly. Fell, but BDD is going to go down as well. And see you later, Nocturne. Umpty also in the death chamber. Zenit is still alive, but super creeps are knocking on the front door of KT, and do they have enough to repel the 3-man, now 4-man siege as the teleport comes in?
Urgot coming back. They got good wave clear here, so the game won't end, but 3 inhibitors will go down at minimum. They're going to try for more anyway. They come in, King and Zenit.
Yeah, that's going to be the taunt onto Roach, trying to find it underneath this turret. Didn't work for KT. Can it work for Gen.G? So far, not so much as Ruler. A lot of DPS on the backline, and now Zenit finds himself without that many cooldowns. That's a GA onto Peanut, so this time is not going to be able to find the battle that he wants. But the Spirit's Refuge is not enough, and instantly it's a double for Ruler and now King, and he felt this in lane, and he's feeling it at the very end of the game. Gangplank against the world.
Wave clear is dead. Akali up in 2 seconds. I think Gen.G's got this.
Yep, these Nexus turrets are not going to last very long at all as Kingen's able to flash to get himself out. There's the Nocturne ultimate, but the Nexus is the target, and Gen.G make this a 3-game series.
Gen.G just about stick the landing, but man, the weather report was crazy. Sunny days into thunder, into all sorts of shenanigans. The new faithful of Gen.G do get to see their Chargers win a game, but only a single one, Atlas, and it shows that at the bottom of the table, things are much closer than at the top.
Yeah, and it turns out those keys, they weren't for a boat, they were a submarine. As Gen.G, they jump off the cliff, they just dive down a little bit longer, and they have the opportunity that they were looking for. That was not a clean game. Game number 3, we're looking for maybe a little bit more precise play, but a whole lot of me was pretty happy that we got the game that we got.
It was weird and wonderful,
Yeah,
for sure. Gen.G tried so hard to repeat some of their big mistakes of the past, but in the end, KT made big mistakes as well, and unfortunately, this is the result that no KT fan or Gen.G fan should have been happy of. A 3-game series where you can't really pick much difference between the two means they're perhaps closer to Jin Air than they want to admit, and further away from Griffin than they want to admit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like the early game did go in favor of KT, but the stark contrast between SKT versus Griffin and the cleanliness of Griffin's execution was brought to such stark relief. In both of these games, the first one wasn't clean despite KT picking up the win, and Gen.G also not exactly winning in the prettiest of ways.
Well, we got a best of 1 that could be thriller minute. Anything could happen. No mistake too big, no outplay too big. Anything possible for our final game of the night.
Yep, exactly right. But I don't know what to expect. Are we going to see the Vladimir bottom lane yet again, or are we going to see Zenit go back to something like an 80 carry? Is Ezreal going to be able to be first rounded by Ruler next time? Not entirely sure. I want to see what the gold graph looks like, though, because it will illustrate exactly how many islands there are on the horizon. Is this are we in the Caribbean, Papa Smith?
I don't think we can name
happening?
all the islands yet, Atlas. There's some new unexplored ones we're visiting that no one saw coming.
Yeah.
In LCK Spring 2019. Crazy stuff, and it sounds like after the break, one more game.
Yeah, we're just not going to find out. So, guys, we are going to have a very short break. When we get back, game number 3 and a conclusion to what has been